Can sew, some people cannot.
Oh, hello there. I didn't hear you come in. Welcome to my garrison. My name is Doug, and this is my faithful companion Leo Raj. Say hello, Leo.
Leo Raj, bring glory to Glad.
Close enough. When I'm not fighting the Iron or Fell Horde, I enjoy watching competitive reality shows. Shows like The Apprentice, Face Off, RuPaul's Drag Race, Strip Search, Tim Burton's Weird and Wacky World. Oh, wait, that's not a show? Never mind. I'm also pretty passionate about video games.
Say, Master, wasn't there a show that combined competitive reality television and video games?
Oh, you mean that episode of The Apprentice where teams needed to create a graffiti advertisement for Gran Turismo?
Ha ha ha! Master knows what Leo Raj meant.
Yes, unfortunately, The Tester. From 2010 to 2012, Sony Computer Entertainment actually put out a competitive reality show called The Tester, which was broadcast on the PlayStation Network and Sony Media Go. A bunch of gamers would compete in a series of challenges and eliminations. And for what grand prize? A PlayStation 3 game console, $5,000, and the dream job of becoming a Sony Computer Entertainment Quality Assurance Tester.
Wait, that's it?
Yeah, kinda strange, isn't it? I mean, sure, most competitive reality shows have prizes of anywhere from $250,000 to $1 million, but even in the shows where the prize is a job, it's usually some prestigious job. But a QA tester? Not even a lead tester position. That's like getting a job in an advanced scientific research center as a lab rat.
That bad, huh?
Well, I think the public has a rather inflated fantasy about what it means to be a quote-unquote game tester.
We just finished level 3 and need to tighten up the graphics a little bit.
Participating in game testing sessions or beta testing is one thing, but QA testers tend to work long hours playing games not to have fun, but to see if the build is functional. It's not uncommon for some QA testers to get burned out on playing games altogether. And this is the job these contestants are competing for. I'm sorry to say, but I think the money and the console are the most valuable parts of the grand prize.
Maybe Master should create a competition where the prize is to be a peon.
Ha ha. Maybe later.
Alright, so prize not so good. Is the show good?
Well, let's take a look. So the first thing you might be asking yourself is, how do you make a competitive reality show out of a job with no skills required, where you play a human guinea pig? The answer is, you don't. Instead, you create a competition where 11 people compete in a series of humorous yet arbitrary tasks that can be nitpicked in eliminations, when many of these tasks have little if anything to do with being a QA tester. The result is a show that tries to pretend it's one really long job interview, but takes itself about as seriously as Takeshi's Castle.
Leo Raj learned much from Takeshi's Castle.
Indeed. In the first season of The Tester, we find the contestants competing in challenges that involve Spot the Difference, blind human hamster balls, slingshot football, LARPing, trivia, paintball, and, ninja training. Sometimes the contestants were judged based on individual and team performances with immunities, but that was not the only factor that determined who went home each episode. During eliminations, the contestants were able to give input on each other, which led to alliances and backstabs. I'll be honest here, this sort of thing in reality shows really bugs me. When you let the contestants speak out against each other, it feels less professional. After all, when you go to a job interview, you don't get hired based on what the other applicants say about you.
Leo Raj not remember his interview.
That's because I recruited you.
Oh yeah.
The Season 1 finale had the last 3 contestants in a multi-tier challenge that ultimately culminated in a video game face-off. Kinda like The Wizard, only with Uncharted 2. I think this is what most contestants thought the entire competition was going to be like. And perhaps it would have been better if it were. Who knows? Making the final challenge boil down to a game competition seems a bit odd when the previous 7 challenges were rather arbitrary. Although that LARPing challenge looked pretty fun.
Good thing my gun shoots lightning!
I have no doubt that any of these contestants were more than qualified to be QA testers. Come to think of it, I'm pretty sure that anyone is qualified to be a QA tester. Well, except whoever Ubisoft has working for them.
That was not so bad.
And apparently it was entertaining enough to warrant a second season. Enter The Tester 2.
Anything different about this season?
A few things, actually. For one thing, the grand prize was increased to also include a Sony 3 television. The initial contestant count was also raised to 12, as there was an extra contestant who was voted in by the online fans of the show. And that voted-in contestant was none other than 8-Bit Mickey. No, not that 8-Bit Mickey. This 8-Bit Mickey.
Who?
You know, from the Game Heroes and that guy with the glasses?
Who?
Never mind. So as with the first season, this one also had contestants competing in a series of ridiculous events. This time, the events up to the finale included pitcher identification, military drills, blind obstacle courses, team obstacle courses, game concept pitching, go-kart racing, and Trivial Pursuit. One thing that really stuck out in this season was the contestant Big Physique, who, despite performing relatively well in the events, was marked by his rude behavior outside the challenges, which eventually got him eliminated due to conduct alone.
Neil Raj think Big Physique was Big Check.
Maybe, maybe not. The show was ultimately a show. The finale was similar in tone to the previous finale, only this time with Killzone 3. Overall, I think Season 2 was better than Season 1, even with Big Physique's presence.
You just say that because you like Gamer.
Well, he was a real sweetie, and the game concept pitch challenge was neat to see.
So was there a third season?
There was, in fact, but unfortunately this is where things started to go downhill. The third season increased the grand prize yet again. In addition to the previous grand prizes, the winner of the Tester 3 would win the job of a production associate at Sony Santa Monica and a 2012 Ford Focus Titanium. Well, a lease on it at least. And once again, there was the 12th contestant voted in by the online fan community. And that contestant was none other than God's gift to mankind, Aaron Hansen, aka Egoraptor.
Ooh, better prize and Mr. Game Grump himself. How this going downhill?
Well, allow me to explain. After 2 seasons of the Tester, it's pretty obvious that the prize is not nearly as entertaining as the competition itself. The craziness of the challenges completely outweighs any seriousness of the competition or the nature of the prize. And considering the fact that Egoraptor is more beloved than 8-Bit Mickey, Egoraptor was in many ways the main draw for watching Season 3. Thus, we enter the first challenge of the Tester 3, which took a page from Fear Factor and had each contestant place their head in a box filled with Madagascar hissing cockroaches while a job interview with the judges was conducted. How is any contestant supposed to take an interview seriously when they have cockroaches on their face, let alone see what connection this has to do with video games? I think Egoraptor was a bit too self-aware in this regard, which led to the judges calling him out on it and barely making it past the first challenge. In the second challenge, Egoraptor didn't get to prove himself at all, since it was a multi-stage challenge, and the team members in charge of the first stage never finished. The third challenge involved shooting cantaloupes at targets, and Egoraptor was let go, not because of individual performance, but because he was on the losing team twice in a row. The judges drilled him for not helping out his team members hit the targets, when it's clear that individual members perform best when left alone. So yeah, Egoraptor was eliminated pretty unjustly, and in my humble opinion, which combined with the fact that he was the main reason to watch the Tester 3, left a bitter taste in my mouth.
What about rest of season?
Well, that's the thing. Apart from Egoraptor, most of the other contestants on the Tester 3 were, to be honest, pretty insufferable. I didn't really care for Ninjanomics, Sky Diddy, or especially Zeus Kaiden. Sweet Celestia, that girl was annoying. And on top of this, I feel Egoraptor is a very creative and funny person, and the challenge that came up after he was eliminated was a test in creativity. And to be fair, the final 3 contestants were not so bad, but the finale, which was based on Starhawk, was, to be honest, rather underwhelming compared to the previous 2 finales. That and the product placement from Ford was incredibly blatant.
That sounds pretty awful.
Yes, I think by the time the 3rd season ended, the folks at Sony realized that the Tester had sort of lost its spark. And that was the end of the Tester. In theory, the Tester was a great idea, but ultimately worthless, as most of the challenges had little if anything to do with video games, and the worth of the grand prize was questionable at best. The most entertaining parts of the 3 seasons were by far the finales, because believe it or not, when people are competing for a job that involves playing video games, you expect to see people playing video games. That's why my final rating for this show is a The Wizard out of 10.
Does Pro Jared know you're stealing his bit?
Quiet, you. Like The Wizard, the Tester had a lot of drama and characters that no one cared about, with the only payoff being the climactic video game face-off between the 3 contestants. And much like The Wizard, it's more or less a giant commercial for its respective game company. The first 2 seasons did have some entertaining parts throughout, but the 3rd season overall was just awful. In many ways, I'm glad it's over. I do have hopes that a better competitive reality shows based around video games will pop up in the future. Who knows? Maybe they could bring back Nick Arcade.
You fly marvelous. Hey, he's on the board with 200 points. Okay, we have to reset again. Here goes.
Or not.